Story 1. Am I the a-hole for not helping my brother with his daughters when his wife left him? I, 30-year-old female, is single and child-free by choice. I date occasionally, but no long-term relationships. This is due to many reasons, like I love my freedom, I want to enjoy my life unencumbered with responsibilities, and want to really focus on my career. My older brother, 34 male, got married when he was 26. He has 2 kids, both female, 7 and 4. They had a traditional household. He wanted a partner who stayed home and looked after the family while he earned. She had apparently dreamed of being a homemaker and taking care of children. But during the last couple of years, she showed signs of hating it. She wanted to study more and work outside, build something of her own, but my brother refused to step up or help. I warned him once, but he told me it's none of my business how he runs his household. I've kept my mouth shut since. His wife left him a month ago. She just wrote him a letter saying she can't do this and wants to explore her life. She left the kids with him and basically vanished. We have no idea where she is. Thing is, my brother doesn't know how to do even the most basic things. He's the kind of guy who never changed a diaper or toasted bread. The moment my brother found that his wife left, he called my mother, who rushed in to save the day. She thought it was short term and my sister-in-law would be back, but she hasn't. My father is unwell and needs her home soon. They live hours away. My brother suggested she take kids home with her. My dad said no. He's retired and they're both getting old. He does not want to have kids in the house full time, taking up her time and energy. Since that was a no-go, my brother asked me to either move in with him to help out or take kids in with me. I refused. From what I see, he's a grown adult and these kids are his responsibility. I made a choice to live the way I do, and I do not want to sacrifice my life for his choices. My family is pressuring me into saying stuff like how my brother does not know how to take care of the kids, the little girls need a woman in their life, how family helps family, etc. My brother is calling me cold-hearted for not even trying to help him. Am I the a-hole? Is she okay? In the post I had given, no one knew where she is based on info I was given by my mother. She told me they had communicated with sister-in-law's parents as well. Hearing that she had taken all of her documents and per her note, I trusted she had gone somewhere where she could study and make something of herself. But a lot of comments had me questioning it all. Many of you wanted me to file a report as a missing person. What I realized is me and my parents not filing it made sense. We know and trust my brother, but why didn't my sister-in-law's parents file a report? They should have been more suspicious, right? So I called sister-in-law's mom. She didn't sound worried or sad, so I was more suspicious. I asked if she knew where sister-in-law was. She said they don't know. Sister-in-law did not say anything to them, etc. I told her I'd be filing a report today then, so we know she is safe. Her mom panicked at that and told me not to. That sister-in-law will come home when she's ready. I told her I have to file a report unless I know she's safe. She kept insisting I don't have to. It was very suspicious. 5 minutes after my call, I got a call from an unknown number. It was sister-in-law. She was panicking and more or less begged me not to file a report. Turns out she was in another state crashing with a distant family. She really did want to go to college and my brother was not letting her. She had a huge fight with him about all that the week before she left. She was really depressed and feeling stuck. Her parents loaned her some cash through a church friend who also helped her go away. She begged me not to file a report, saying he will sue her for child support and she can barely support herself and go to college. I told her abandoning her kids was wrong. She was crying when she said she knew and hoped that they can forgive her. She really couldn't live this life anymore. Leaving them was the hardest decision she's ever made, but she felt it was better than taking them and letting them starve with her. At least here they have home and family. I did ask why she couldn't just divorce my brother then. She said she did not have money for a lawyer or anything, no home to return to. She's not proud of it, but she just couldn't stay and fight. She didn't tell me where exactly she was, did not want to risk it. Asked me not to give her number to my family. I did tell her about the situation with her kids. She just said my brother will figure it out. She cannot help in any way right now. She will come back to her babies when she can. All right, first things first. You are not the a-hole. So don't worry about that. You you've chosen your life. You enjoy being a solitary person, and you've chosen not to raise kids. And while I think it would be certainly nice for you to offer some amount of help, the amount of help that your brother seems to be asking for is not very reasonable, I don't think. You have every right to be able to live your life how you want. Your brother made his decisions, and they're his kids. They're his responsibility. He could get a nanny or a service or something like that. I'm sure it would cost him some money, but I mean, that's kind of life. The other thing I'll say, though, is your brother, the wife wanting to make more of herself, do some college, something like that. It sounds like your brother was so opposed that he didn't really leave her a lot of choices. And so I also think in that regard, your brother may have brought it in on himself. Now, I don't know for sure. Obviously I wasn't there. I didn't see all their interactions and how it played out and how much the brother helps and this and that. Who knows for sure, but it does kind of seem like he was trying to force something on his wife that she eventually realized wasn't for her. And people are allowed to do that. People are allowed to change and grow in a relationship and everything and be like, you know what? I'm not happy with this. Can we work on that? And if the brother says no, I don't totally blame her for ditching. I do think she has a responsibility to those kids and should try and figure something out to be helping them too. But I at least understand why she did what she did. Story 2. Am I the a-hole for canceling my Mother's Day celebration that I arranged for my wife after hearing what she told my son? I, 37 male, have a 13-year-old son. I was a widower when I met my now wife. She has a 16-year-old daughter from another relationship. The family is on pretty good terms. My son is the quiet one in the house. He keeps to himself a lot, but not to the point of being concerned. My wife and stepdaughter are the complete opposite. They both encourage him to be outgoing and share activities and join gatherings with extended family. My son complained about having to be forced out of his comfort zone and having his need for space invalidated. I spoke to both my wife and stepdaughter and asked them to give him space and freedom to spend his time however he wanted. They apologized and promised to let him be. As Mother's Day was approaching, I wanted to throw my wife a surprise Mother's Day celebration. It was no longer a surprise because my stepdaughter gave her the heads so she could prepare. Yesterday, I got off work earlier than usual to get final arrangements done. We planned to celebrate at the restaurant and invited her family there. I had the key, and while I was entering the house through the front door, I overheard my wife and stepdaughter talking to my son. My wife was asking my son if he could convince me to let him stay home and not go with them to the restaurant to celebrate. I paused and decided to keep listening. My son said why, and she told him that his introverted and socially inept attitude will make her family uncomfortable and will ruin the mood. He promised her that he'd be well behaved and would try to interact and socialize with everyone, but she said that she wasn't buying it. He kept reassuring her, but she snapped and told him that technically she's not his mom, so she didn't get why he wanted to celebrate Mother's Day with her so badly. My stepdaughter threw some, I don't remember, backhanded comments, and then both of them were shocked to see me standing there. Both were staring without saying anything. I told my son and his stepsister to go to their rooms, then told my wife that the celebration was off, canceled. She tried to argue, asking why repeatedly, and I told her why. She tried to explain that she didn't mean it like that, and that I only heard part of the conversation but not all of it. I told her I was done arguing and the decision was already made. She yelled, asking what she was going to tell her family, and said that I was making a tremendous mistake towards her. I ignored her while she kept throwing tantrum after tantrum. Early this morning, she took my stepdaughter and went to stay with her folks. Not a single call or text from her so far. Situation is full of tension. I'm still upset, but more hurt, to be honest. I mean, yes, I did say I was going to have this celebration, but I thought that what she said to my son was too harsh to ignore. Yeah, no, you're not the a-hole. It sounds like your current wife is being quite the a-hole. I somewhat get her being like, look, you don't like socializing all that much. It would just be kind of awkward. Why don't you just stay home or something? But that's where my understanding stops, because then for her to be like, well, I'm not even your actual mom. Why do you even want to celebrate my birthday? That's heartbreaking. That's devastating. This kid probably sees you as kind of a mother figure. I have a stepmom, or as I like to call her, my bonus mom. I love her. She helped raise me. She is a part of my life. And if she ever said something like that to me, I would be absolutely heartbroken. She's wonderful and we get along great, so that's never been a concern, but still, I can imagine, even if the kid's a little, introverted and, doesn't like to socialize as much as them, he can still absolutely care for you. And the fact that she would say that to him kind of indicates that she doesn't think of him as a son, which, for step-parents and step-kids and stuff, I don't know. Those relationships can take time, I'm sure, but that's still just such a cold thing to say. And yeah, for the person writing this, for our dear poster, I don't think that you're an a-hole at all, because that would be just devastating to hear and a really crappy thing. So yeah, no, I think you definitely should have canceled, and I think you and her really need to have a talk and maybe some counseling, because yikes. Story 3. Downstairs neighbors wouldn't turn down music, nuked them from orbit. I was inspired by a recent post to tell my own bad neighbor story. Can't think of a better place to post it. Flashback to 2014 or so. I moved out on my own in 2013 and moved into an old house converted into a 2-floor apartment directly across from my future in-laws. The downstairs neighbors were loud, blaring music at all hours. Yes, all of the hours. Wouldn't cut the grass or take out the trash on our shared schedule. Crappy neighbors, but never bothered me directly. The guy was pretty chill when sober and would turn down the music a little when I texted him. He was okay until his girlfriend moved in. Now add shouting matches to the mix, and all of a sudden my request to turn down the music makes him turn it up. I can barely walk on my super thin floor without her banging on the ceiling with a broom. I was okay since I'm a heavy sleeper and could sleep through anything. My wife moved in and I quickly found out that she is quite the opposite. Fan on, turned at a certain angle in the doorway of the bathroom, the door closed halfway, blackout curtains with them taped to the wall so zero light comes through, zero sounds other than the fan. You get the idea. I told her that we can't expect them to remain silent when she's ready for bed. We need to be reasonable, but the wall-rattling music needs to stop during the night. She hated it during the day, but I told her there's nothing we can do then, so she would go to her parents' house a lot during the day. I talked to the neighbor guy. He said, "Yeah, man, that's cool." But it turns out the girlfriend wasn't having it, and his attitude then changed to, "Yeah, well, it's our house, so you can go F yourself if you think you can tell us what to do, and you can move out if you don't like it." Something that definitely had to change once she was pregnant and then the baby came. So I did the only thing I could do. I fought fire with fire and maliciously complied with the law to the T. I could only report them for noise after 11 p.m. I now forget the morning hour when the noise could start, but I believe it was 9 a.m. My dad had these huge old concert speakers in his garage, professional grade, black leather bound, 5 feet tall and 3 feet wide, and a pretty nice vintage stereo amp. He has 2, but my apartment was so small I sadly only had room for 1. We replaced our coffee table with this thing laid face down onto our thin office carpet. Tired of this crap tunes, I tested this Geneva Convention breaking device when they weren't home. Holy cow. I had to take everything down from the tables, counters, and shelves because they would shake off. I prepared audio files to feed the stereo. I was giddy like a kid with a new Christmas toy. I turned it on when I left for work and got my wife up to send her to her parents. I came home from work and hung out with her parents until it was close to bedtime. They resisted for 3 days. On day 2, I found a pile of manure on my doorstep, but it didn't faze me. I cycled between signs, saw square waves and clashing chords, marching music, Washington Post march on loop, preaching clips. They weren't just atheist, but outspoken anti-Christian, so it was a must. The most stupid songs you could think of, Captain Planet theme song, chicken dance, etc. This poor old house rattled in ways I didn't think possible. The vibrations from the sine wave would make your vision blur. I eventually got a text from him that read, "Sorry man, you can stop now. I did not. He needed a few more days to let it sink in. Plus, I had so much fun putting it together. They complained to the police and the landlord. There was nothing they could do since I wasn't doing anything wrong. I didn't even hear music during the time of peace to follow. It was so quiet. They would build up their courage and try again every few weeks when I wasn't home, but my wife was. I then showed her how to tame the beast so she could let it loose while I was away. I had to give them a spanking every now and then, but they learned. They were so happy when we moved out. You know, I get that some people love to listen to music all the time. I think I've said it before on this channel. My partner adores music, has it playing a lot more than I personally would, but I enjoy hearing it. It's a lot of fun. But when you're living in an apartment or a duplex or anything like that, and you're blasting that music loud enough to where you know they can always hear it, and you've just got it going all the time, that's not okay. It doesn't matter that it's your house. The sound isn't staying in your house. It's going everywhere. And so, yeah, I don't blame this person one bit for fighting back. I have had neighbors that did stuff like this back when I used to work midnights, and they'd be like blasting music at 6 a.m. when I was getting home. And eventually, you know, it was a duplex where they lived right below me, same situation, and eventually got to the point where if I was trying to sleep and they were just blasting music before 7 a.m., I would just slam my foot on the ground. And one day did blast some, I believe I chose some System of a Down to blast through the speaker that I had placed on the floor of my bedroom. And yeah, nothing actually really changed that much. We fought a bit. Their kids broke into my car and stole some stuff. Yeah, it didn't end well. Don't start fights with folks that you can't win. But this person definitely knew how to win because their plan was next level. So good on them. Also, Captain Planet theme song isn't stupid. That song rips. Captain Planet, he's a hero, gonna take pollution down to 0. Story 4. EM labels me the Office S for wearing a swimsuit at a surf school. I'm a surf instructor at a surf school on the beach. It was the end of the day. I had just finished my final class. I'd done 5-hour-long classes in a row, and I was covered in water and wet sand, so I just wanted to get the thing off me and maybe go for a swim before I left the beach. I was in the surf shack we were based in with 3 coworkers who all call Sam, Joe, and Mick. Names changed, but Sam in real life has an equally gender-neutral name. I texted my boyfriend, who confirmed he was 5 minutes away. I'd already finished my part of the closing up process, so while Sam put the closed sign on the door and locked up the filing cabinet, and Joe and Mick sorted out the wetsuits and put the boards back in their holders, I left the boys to finish up and went to the changing area to strip off my wetsuit. I'd gotten down to my tankini when I heard a loud, nasally American accented voice. EM, excuse me, hello, service please. Seeing the boys were occupied, I pulled on my skirt and went to the door. EM did not look like a stereotypical Karen. Long hair, tan, wearing a bikini with a big floppy beach hat or sarong around her waist. Her daughter was with her, looked around 10 to 12 years old, and her mom's mini-me, but she didn't speak once during this encounter, so I don't know if she's entitled or not. Me, hi, can I help you? Entitled mom, you could start by putting some clothes on. My tankini is covering about the same amount of skin as a one-piece would, aside from a strip of exposed skin by my waist, and I'll admit that the neckline is kind of low, but entitled mom is literally wearing a bikini with way more exposed skin than me. Me, customer service mode activated. I am very sorry, miss. Sam, can you grab me the shirt, please? He throws my tank top at me and I pull it on. Better? Entitled mom, not really. Is there anyone else who can take care of us? Sorry, my coworkers are a little busy right now. We're closing up. Fine, I want to sign my daughter up for classes tomorrow. I start to talk her through the availability slots where we can fit her kid in, prices and requirements. While I do this, I'm gesturing with my hands and leaning over the counter to point out some stuff on the sign-up sheet. Entitled mom interrupting me, I'm sorry, don't you have a sweatshirt or something? It's the middle of summer in a heat wave on the beach. Me, clinging to my customer service smile because I'm still technically on the clock. I'm sorry, no, I don't. Would you like me to carry on? Is there no one else I could speak to? You're making my daughter feel self-conscious. Me, giving up on being polite. You're making me feel self-conscious. It's summer. It's a beach. It's a heat wave. I do not have another shirt. Everything that needs to be covered is covered, and with all due respect, you're wearing less than I am. Sam, wearing a t-shirt and denim shorts, hears all this and recognizes my tone as my I'm about to snap tone, so he looks at me, I nod at him, and he jumps in. Sam. I'd be happy to help you, miss. My name is Sam. OP, why don't you go? Sam is a guy. Sam, last time I checked, I thought you were a girl. Sorry to disappoint. Do you think it's appropriate to wander around like that when there's a young man nearby? You should report her to HR. Sam says, it's a beach. People walk around with less all the time. Entitled mother repeating, it's inappropriate. You're wearing a bikini. I'm not working. She is. Me. You do know this is a surf school? Mick and Joe hear the noise. EM hasn't raised her voice or yelled or anything, but they can hear the tone of the conversation and decide they should step in just in case. Mick and Joe are both wearing board shorts and flip-flops, no shirts. Mick coming up behind me. Is there a problem here? Joe at Mick's side. Anything we can help with? EM's eyes go wide. She looks between me and the three boys in shock and horror. Recovering herself, I was just saying that, me. She was just telling me to put some clothes on. Mick, you know this is a beach, right? If anything, she's overdressed. EM can see she's not going to persuade me to magically summon more clothing to wear, and you can tell from her eyes she knows the boys won't agree with her. Then a thought hits her like a brick to her hollow head. Just what were you four doing back there? Joe, closing up? I'm not stupid. I beg to differ. You're telling me she answered the door practically naked and y'all were wearing barely anything but nothing's going on here? Mick, jokingly. OP, we've told you not to answer the door naked. I laugh. EM, don't you laugh at me, you little W. I know what's going on here, you perverts. Sam, who is gay, is in all-out, doubled-over peals of laughter. EM's daughter looks really embarrassed and is bright red with her face in her hands. Sam, you think that trails off mid-sentence in favor of more laughing. EM, oh sure, everyone protects the office. S. Joe literally falls to the floor, clutching his stomach laughing. Mick, yeah, now if you don't mind, we're mid-orgy, so get in or get out. It's just then that my boyfriend shows up. Boyfriend sees me, Joe, Sam, and Mick peeing ourselves laughing, entitled mom looking homicidal, and the daughter bright red with her face in her hands. Everything okay here? Boyfriend comes over and gives me a hug, and I get the frankly genius idea to pull him in for a kiss in full view of entitled mother. Entitled mother screeches, some demonic noise that only dogs can hear, and stomps off, her poor daughter in tow, and that's the last we ever heard from her. Ah, the dreaded sea Karen. What did I... It's a beach. It's a beach. The fact that you're not, like, in... That the OP could have been in a bikini, and it would be just fine. It's a beach, and it's hot. Like, you're complaining about her wearing a one-piece suit? You want her to put on a sweater or something? This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry. I can't handle a human being like this. That just, and she's in a bikini, so like, no, there's no justification for acting like this. Don't ever be like this person. What an awful time. OP, you're not an a-hole at all. You are a saint for being as patient with this woman as you were. You should not have been. You should not have had to put on a shirt in the first place, the t-shirt you put on. She's like, can you put something on? You would have been like, I work here. This is standard clothing. I'm good. Like, see Karen, go back out and just keep walking into the sea and don't come back. Please leave your story in the comments. I would love to make a video on them in the future. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe.